2 years ago, on December 16th, I released an entire Security Breach-inspired album. This album was huge, and it was the first album I ever put out into the world. It was 19 songs long. That's crazy to think about, considering that 2 years later now, I am working on a Ruin DLC album, which is not nearly as big as this. I mean, to be fair, the Ruin DLC is not nearly as lengthy as Security Breach, and it's much more linear, but still, it's crazy to think that 2 years ago, I pulled a 19-song album out of my ass. That's bonkers, okay? So anyways, 2 years later, because I am now working on a second album, I figured it might be fitting to go back and do a reaction to my entire album. Even though 2 years having passed doesn't seem like a very long time, even now already, when I hear songs from this album play within my presence, I can already pick up on a lot of things that I would do differently. And I also, to be fair, I will say that that is probably partly because so many of these songs were actually started and finished as early as 2020. For example, the very first song on the album, Trust in Me, that song was completed in 2021, early 2021. Like, I'm talking right after New Year's. Like, I started that song on my laptop, I think, before I got my desktop PC, and then I transferred that project file over and finished it in 2021. And it just happened to be good enough throughout the year that it took me to finish the rest of the album that it still stayed on here, which, for those of you who know, there are a lot of songs that did not make the cut and were replaced by what were, in my opinion, better songs. You can find a few of those songs on my mother's channel, Goat Mom. She has a Spotify and a music account called Goat Mom Music, and you can find some of those canceled singles released there instead. Okay, as you know, the company motto, without further ado, let's jump right in and pick apart my 2-year-old Security Breach album. Okay, listen. I've reacted to my really old songs, and I'll admit I was kind of a bully. I'm gonna try to be kinder to myself because, you know, I'm gonna try not to be a bully, okay? But I am going to, you know, critique and talk about the things I would change, or I'll also highlight the things I think I did well. And I also want to talk about the animation work that was done on this album because, you know, incredible, incredible. All right, song number 1, Trust in Me. This was a glitch trap song that kind of tells the very beginning of the story in terms of what leads up to Security Breach, or what I thought led up to Security Breach at the time. It was mostly like a headcanon situation. It's not accurate. This was before we knew what the hell the Mimic was, or that it was going to be so prevalent in the story, but this kind of is the initial contact that Glitch Trap makes with Vanessa before she becomes Vany, and then the events of Security Breach happen. So there's your little bit of context here, because throughout the album I try to retell the story as best as I can from, you know, right before the game and then into the actual game, and then it carries you through the different highlights or big events that happen within the actual game. All right, here we go. I believe this is also one of the most streamed songs on the album.
Two rods, decades past, but I am not here to stay. I must get away.
Yep, so this is the part where they like scan in the chip, right? Okay, I'm gonna pause because no, yes, he's the one who animated this. In fact, fun fact, this is the first, I believe, yeah, this is the first animation I ever commissioned from him, and this is what, you know, got me hooked. I was like, oh my god, you're amazing, I want to work with you forever. And we still continue to work with each other because he is just absolutely phenomenal. Great, great animation this turned out to be. Let me see if I can pause on it. So this binary here, this was entirely his idea, which is what I love about him too. I'll give him what I believe is a very detailed storyboard, right, for him to follow. And he does a phenomenal job at that. But not only that, he ends up coming up with even more cool details to add in here. For example, Exhibit A, this binary translates to actual phrases. So if you have a translator around, I'll leave this here for a sec so that you can translate it, find out what it says.
Promise you'll be fine if you
Trust. Oh, that's really cool. See, I'm here to like talk about my music, but I get so distracted by how good the animation is, because the fact that he nailed this idea that I wanted where their realities are blending. So he kind of fades in and out from being inside of the game, or like Glitch Trap fades in and out from being like augmented into his world. You know what I mean? Just so cool. Sorry, I can't help but gush about the animation work on this album because it's so good. This is so good. Ooh, his shadow. Here he comes. Peekaboo. So spooky. Oh, there's Faint Girl. Okay, I'm pausing again. I'm gonna talk about the music now, finally. Oh, whoa, why did it get so much darker in my room? I didn't realize how much darker it just got in my room. It's partly cloudy outside. Anyways, I'm pausing for a moment to talk about the music, finally, because that's what we're here for. I will say that, you know, 2, 3, 4 years ago actually is when this song was finished. So for it being 4 years old, not bad. I like the beat. It sounds like something that if I ever did learn how to DJ, which is still something I really want to do, this would be a great song to DJ for, because it has that club vibe to it. It's very danceable. And the mixing is decent too, considering that like this was a breakthrough moment in me learning how to do certain effects with my voice. Oh, here comes the sun. It's coming back. But yeah, you know what? I'm still pretty proud of this song. This is one of the songs on the album that I could still say safely is one of my favorites. Not the favorite, but it's up there. So I'm still pretty proud of it. Like, yeah, the mixing isn't perfect, and even to this day, my mixing isn't perfect. I still have a lot to learn, and being self-taught is kind of tricky because you end up kind of accidentally developing your ear in sometimes the wrong direction, which is why it's always good to listen to other work as well. Instead of just getting sucked into what you make, it's good to kind of branch out and take inspiration from the mixing of other artists, or to just, you know, tune your ear into different kinds of music so that you don't get, you know, stuck in a rut, if that makes any sense. But you know what? Not bad. Not bad. This song isn't terrible. I'm gonna skip forward a little bit so that I'm not here forever. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is the scariest freaking frame that I could have paused on. Oh my god. That's a demon. Aha, she got him. Get him. Oh, this part's freaky. I don't like that he stretches. Yeah, get that door. Yeah, get that door. Let me out! Help! Oh, buddy. Don't worry, here she comes. This? Okay, you want to know something embarrassing? Up until I made this song, I didn't know that transpose settings existed to make effects like that, where you detune your voice. Listen. It took me a while to figure things out, all right? But then I did, and my whole world was changed. But that's one of my favorite parts of this song, because, again, breakthrough in learning what I could do with voice effects and just tuning things differently and then panning it from ear to ear. That whole bridge verse right there, where it's like going back and forth with the deeper voice behind it, or like I don't even know how to describe what kind of voice it is, but it sounds kind of cool. I think I kind of did something there. I don't know. I love her reflection there. That's so cool. Another one of No Yes's ideas to do there. There they are, the glam rocks. So now we're caught up to the beginning of Security Breach, because Freddy's gonna have a little moment here. Typey, typey. Oh, there he goes. This is so cool too. He animated them both walking and then had him glitch into view there, like an overlay. Ah, so good. See, I could do a whole separate reaction to this album solely for just talking about the beautiful animations that were done for it. I didn't deserve these people, okay? Gosh, all incredible, all so I have no words. I'm grateful that they were willing to work on this album, because without them, this album would be not nearly as phenomenal as it turned out to be. It was a combined effort, okay? The animation and the songs had to go hand in hand for it to work, and oh, geez. I love it. I love it so much, even 2 years later. No notes. It's so good. In terms of the music, you know, that's what I'm here to mostly try and talk about. I've also discovered more recently outside plugins being able to be used, which I always knew that was kind of a thing. I just never did it. A, because I couldn't afford such a thing, and B, because I didn't know where to go to find decent plugins for things like, you know, auto-tune vocoders and, you know, the kind of plugins that a lot of FNAF nerdcore songs end up having in them to get that robotic kind of sound to their voices, to make them sound like, you know, animatronics singing. I finally figured out how to get into that sort of a thing after collaborating with other artists who were like, hey, have you ever considered trying to use like these sorts of things? They're really cool. I'll recommend you, you know, this brand or this company or this website. They have some cool stuff. You should check it out. And so I did. And again, eye-opening, very cool tools to use. But for the time being, because again, this song is 4 years old, not bad, you know? I had to work with what I had, which wasn't a lot. It's just Ableton's base, you know, basic plugins that it comes with. The EQs, the mastering, the vocal effects were mostly just transposing and panning. Maybe a bit of a chorus effect added here and there. It's not bad, you know. I can give myself a little pat on the back there for, you know, it being 4 years old and still kind of holding up. It's still not my favorite on the album, but we'll get to that. Which actually, I lied. This is not the first animation that No Yes did for me. It was actually the last song on this album that was the first animation he did for me. This one was second, I believe. But either way, one of the first animations he ever did for me, and it turned out amazing. I still love it. 10 out of 10. Moving on to song number 2, which is called You Won't Be Alone. This one was interesting because it was technically a commission, which I then ended up putting on the album, and it's a different style. It reminds me of like Invitations vibe, which is a really old song that I made about FNAF AR Special Delivery, which was actually like picked up and recognized by Illumix that one day on Twitter. Crazy day. Anyways, so this song kind of reminds me of that, but it's even more like, I don't know how to describe it. I'll just play it. But it's kind of like the cheery with, you know, evil undertones kind of vibe. Oh, the artist Lex. They did a really good job on this art. Come on. Okay, I'm pausing already because that announcer, it's me, but you may also recognize it from it being ripped straight out of my Vanessa into Madness series on the last episode when the announcer says that exact thing, like, welcome to the grand opening of the brand new state of the art. You know, that's literally the same exact clip that was taken from Vanessa into Madness. So, fun fact, there's a little Easter egg I wanted to put in this song because Vanessa into Madness came out a year before this did. Look at how precious this art is, though. Lex did such a good job. Look at Monty. Gregory. They're so cute. It was perfect for this song, considering it's all like cheery and cute and happy, but it's, you know, secretly evil.
Open the doors, the fun awaits for you.
I like the funky little drums in the background of this song.
Got nothing to hide, got nowhere to hide, nowhere to hide.
I like that progression there where it just gets worse and worse.
No, it never ends. We're gonna find you, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna keep you until the night falls. When it's time to go, you won't be alone. Don't
I like this one because it's kind of catchy. And again, it's a really weird vibe compared to the songs you guys are probably used to me doing. Which, that's kind of the thing, here, pause, shut up. That's kind of the thing about this album, and I've talked about it in fan mail openings and like other Q&As where I've been asked questions about it. One of the things that I tried to do with this album, because it was the first one I was ever putting out, and it was a huge bite to take, but what I tried to do was put variety in it, or make some songs on here that's styles were outside of my typical comfort zone. Like, I wanted to push myself into uncomfortable places to like try to make a breakthrough in what I could do as an artist. So that's why this album, when you listen to it all the way through in one sitting, might feel a little bit whiplashy, because I tried to do, you know, different things. I tried to experiment a little, and I tried to make decisions that I wouldn't typically make, because I felt like a debut album kind of, well, it's not like my debut, but my first album I ever put out, I wanted it to be, you know, I wanted to push myself, basically, is, you know, the shortest and simplest way to put it. And I think I succeeded. You know, some of these songs on here aren't my favorites, probably because they were the ones that I, you know, typically wouldn't do. But I'm still glad that I did that, because I kind of proved to myself that, hey, it's okay to experiment sometimes. You know, it's not that deep, bro. you can do what you want, and the people who want to listen to it will listen to it, and the people who don't won't. And that is perfectly fine. So it's kind of my way of like getting over my fears of trying new things. I'm going to skip to the end of this one, because this song, as cute as it is kind of redundant. It's a very simple song compared to the rest of the album, because it's supposed to be exactly like my old song Invitation, or even Our Experience, where it's kind of just from the point of view of Fazbear Entertainment in general, just talking about how shady they are and like, you know, hush hush. So it's not like a super clever song or like super deep or anything. But I'm going to skip to the end because I like the ending, the instrumental bit at the last chorus. I kind of liked how that turned out. So I want to hear it again. Yeah, this. I still like this. Peepaw. The Mimic. Yeah, you know, that song's cute. I don't hate it, all right? I like the instrumental better than I like the lyrics, because the lyrics are really simple, you know? Because, again, it's just a shallow Fazbear Entertainment song that's like, ooh, hush, hush, we have secrets. So it's not my favorite in terms of, like, the cleverness of it or the poeticness of it in terms of, like, the rest of the album. Mixing-wise, it's a little heavy. It's a little muddy in places because I layered so many, like, arpeggiated basses and, like, a lot of, like, synth leads here and there. So there's some parts where it feels a little louder than it probably should, or the vocals get a little bit drowned, which is something I've always struggled with, mixing my voice over things. I'm still figuring out how to tweak different things, or to stack plugins in a certain order, or to, you know, turn this knob this way and this knob this way. Like, there's a lot to mixing your voice, especially depending on the type of instrumental you have in the background, or what type of voice you're using, whether it's chest voice, head voice. There's a lot to it in terms of making it clean and understandable. And, you know, this one isn't awful. It's not my best, but again, two years ago. In fact, this was also a song that is much older than the album itself, because it was commissioned back in 2020, if not 2021. I believe it's about the same age, actually, as Trust in Me. So pretty old, older than the actual album itself. There are things that I would probably try and do a little differently now, especially with the vocal mixing, because I've learned so much in the past, 4 years. I still like it. I still think it's cute. Again, I like the instrumental more than I like the lyrics and the vocals to it. All right, now this one is a crowd favorite, and I don't blame you guys, because it is also one of my favorites. This is Security Breach, name drop of the game, and this is featuring AP Angry Piggy and Hala CG, two incredibly talented artists. And this song, again, kind of a breakthrough for my mixing and my production skills, which were pretty minimal at the time. And, I'm still learning. But considering the time that has passed, it'll be interesting to listen to this because not only was I mixing my own voice, but this was one of the first times, if not the first time, that I got to learn how to mix other people's voices. And that in and of itself is an added challenge when you've never done that sort of a thing before. So, I mean, considering that, even still, I think this song turned out okay. If I were to do it again now, I could probably do it so much better. Because again, learned a lot. That's the whole point of growth. And looking back on things is seeing how far I've come. But yeah, this is a crowd favorite, and I don't blame you guys because the two artists that are featured on here are incredible, and they did a phenomenal job on this song. And without them, the song would not be as amazing as it is. In fact, they probably make the whole thing. So without further ado, let's listen to some of it again. I believe this was animated by Jusser as well. Yep. He did really good on this. Oh, and my dad, right, my dad plays the guitar at the end. I got to be Chica. I just love the vibe of this one. It gets you hyped. This part is my favorite. Oh, it gives me chills still. Because they did so good. It lined up so perfectly when our voices all came together. The harmonies, the rhythm, the pattern, the fact that we all nailed it and we're all in sync. Oh, so good. They did so good. God, Hala's voice is so pretty. And AP Angry Piggy, God, the riffs he does in this. And even he, over the years, I'm sure, here, I'm going to pause for a second. But I'm sure both of these guys, you know, looking back are probably like, oh my gosh, I've gotten so much better too. But even still, God, even on this song, which is, you know, 2-3 years old, I think this we finished pretty early on in the album, production in total. This is one of the earlier ones to be completed, I think. But my gosh, they did so good. They have such incredible voices. I was so honored that they agreed to work on this with me. I was so giddy. I was like, yay! I was so excited. Oh gosh, they really make this song. Because hold on, listen to Hala's voice here. She's so good. She's so good. Listen to this. Oh my god. So good. I like the lyrics on this one that I came up with for this section specifically. It's so catchy. I like this one. Son. She's like, hello. Uh-oh, they're getting all dingy. Hello, Gregory. I just love Freddie. He's so silly. This is my dad's guitar in the background doing the power chords. Oh, I love the smashing of the instruments. Freddie looks like he's ready to fist fight. Oh, so good. That little bit at the end where they smash their instruments was kind of an homage to, which band? Is it? It's not Kiss. Or is it? I don't remember. There's a 80s glam rock band that would do that. They would smash their instruments on stage. So I was trying to do little references to real life glam rock bands and different stage performance, shocking things that those bands would do way back when. Just as, again, little Easter eggs, hey, if you know, kind of a thing. Because I love that era of music. But yeah, I still really like this song. Again, it always boils down to the mixing for me. Sometimes the lyric choices But this one, I really like the hands up, here we go, yeah, we gonna light it up. That whole part is so catchy still. And listening to our layers, or our voices layered together in that section, to this day still gives me like little chills. I'm like, oh, it turned out so good. Like, yeah, the mixing isn't the best because, again, old stuff. I'm always improving. But I still really like this. Again, this is one of my top, like, probably 4 or 5 in the album out of the 19. I guess at the end of this video, I will try my best to rank my top 5 in order of like most favorite out of the 19 songs. But this is definitely up there, I think, because again, their voices, AP and Hala in this, I hope they look back on this and are still proud of their performances because so good, so good. But anyways, without further ado, let's move on to Lights Off, which is number 4. This one, it's not one of my favorites. I struggled a lot on how the heck to come up with a song for Sun/Moon. And for those of you who followed me on Twitter at the time, I think I even made a post that was seeking a voice actor or just even a vocal artist who would be willing to step in as the role of Sun or Moon because I had great vocal insecurity. I tried making like 2, 3, 4 different songs that had been written from the point of view of Sun and then Moon, but my voice, it just sounded goofy. I'm not gonna lie. It's like Molten to the Core all over again. It was not for me. Which again, the whole point of this album, well, not the whole point, but a major point of it was to push myself outside of my comfort zone. But I just couldn't settle on forcing myself into a voice that clearly wasn't a good fit for me. So ultimately, I ended up going with this idea instead, where most of it is sung from Gregory's point of view, because I was like, hey, in this whole album, there isn't really a song from his point of view, and I feel like my voice would be more fitting to sing as Gregory as opposed to Sun or Moon, because Sun or Moon, which, I say or because I treat them like separately in this song. I know they're the same character, but still, they have slightly different, deliveries in how they speak. And even so, I couldn't do that. Not without it sounding real weird. So I went with this idea instead because it felt better. And it's kind of more comedic this way because you get to see some of Gregory's I'm fed up with this. This is dumb because he's such a little brat. So I like how this one turned out still, but it's not one of my favorites just because I struggled so much with coming up with the idea. And again, it's not the most impressive work that I did on this album, but we'll still listen to some of it because I also want to talk about the artwork. So all of this art in this video was illustrated by my friend Karma Bunny, who is an extremely talented artist, and I know she was super nervous, that her art wasn't good enough, and she'll probably cringe when she sees this video too. She's gonna be like, oh my god, why did you put this in your reaction video? It's so bad. But it's so good. Look at this art. Look at the shading and the rendering and the really good, thin, and just exact line art. I know she's gonna look at this and pick it apart, but I think, and this isn't even just because she's a good friend of mine, I genuinely think that this art looks absolutely amazing. I still love it. All these years later, it's only 2 years, but still, all these 2 years later, I think that it's incredible. I love this art. I love it. I'm gonna skip through most of this song. I can play the ending, I suppose, because wow, there's a lot of most replayed sections in here. I don't know how YouTube comes up with that. Is it just because people skip ahead to these parts most? That's bizarre. But anyways. Oh, he creeping.
You'll never leave tonight.
I will say the mixing on this one is pretty clean because of how simplistic it is. And it's catchy. I also like this at the end here.
This is the worst sleepover I've ever had.
That's probably my favorite part of the whole song. It's just that snarky little line at the end there. But yeah, all in all, not bad. Not my favorite of the album. Again, not even in the top 5. But art, phenomenal. Well done, Karma Bunny. Love you. And also, song, catchy, simple, does the trick, I guess. Gosh, I struggled so hard to do a moon or just even a daycare section of the game. That was the hardest section for me to come up with a song for. I could come up with a freaking phenomenally clever endoskeleton song before I could come up with a daycare song for Sun and Moon. That's redonkulous. Anyways, moving on to one of my absolute favorites, but that is also because I'm biased and I love Vany. Despite how dirty they did her in the actual game, I love this song. This is Trouble. I love this one. I love it. It was animated by Macabre Void, and he did a stellar job. So good. Now you're in trouble. I just love how sassy she is. Look at her. It makes me giggle. Look at her. She's just... Oh my gosh. So this is a parallel to Trust in Me, the first song of the album, because, you know, she's his follower. So I drew a parallel there to try and be clever. He did, hello. He's like, I did that. It's me. Look at it. My God, look at those hips. She's sassy. She said, yeah, get it. Let's go. This chorus. That little melody in the chorus of the let's get down to business, that whole thing was an idea that it popped into my head when I was showering. It always does. Oh, it's so dark again. What is happening outside? All my best song ideas end up popping into my head when I'm like showering or, you know, the farthest away from my computer. So then I'm scared that the idea is going to, you know, vanish before I make it to my computer and write it down. So what I had to do is I just had to hum that melody and then the lyrics popped up next. So I was like, let's get down to business. Let's get up to trouble. I just had to keep like singing that to myself as I finished, you know, showering, and then I jumped out and then I ran over to my computer in my parents' garage and I sat down and I was like, okay, I gotta make it right now. And I think this was one of the songs that I whipped up in 3 hours. So anyways, it's one of my favorites, but I'm gonna skip forward to one of my favorite sections because again, this song, as good as it is, the verses are a little bit redundant. So I'm gonna skip to the bridge into the last chorus because that's my favorite part.
If there was a way out, I would never make it. Darkness closes in.
You know, considering that the SFM model for Vanessa, the way she's ported and the way her rig works, I've heard is really broken. Macabre Void did pretty freaking good for animating a slow motion dramatic fall. All the grabby hands.
Psych. Let's get down to business.
I love that part. Psych. Okay, the part 2 drop of this chorus is my favorite. Wait for it. Here it comes. Oh, I love it. It's a little bit of hard style in here. Again, completely new to me. I never usually do stuff like that, but now that I did for this song, I love it. So I know that like the last section of that isn't like legit hard style, so don't come for me. I know that like some people are very like specific about what qualifies as a certain genre and what doesn't, but I can't deny that there are some elements of hard style in that last chorus, which is something that I didn't really ever do up until that point. And so I really like how that one turned out. I think it's my favorite part of that song. And that Vany song is definitely probably in my top 5 solely because of that. Just because of that part of the instrumental. I love it so much. Again, mixing is a little heavy here and there. My voice gets a little bit drowned because I'm singing in that very whispery kind of voice. So that tends to be a little harder to mix without it getting tinny because you really have to crank up the higher frequencies and the mid frequencies to your voice. So sometimes that can become almost painful to listen to if you crank it too high. So I was still kind of figuring out how to balance that properly. So there's a couple spots in the song where like it's not fantastic. But again, it's tricky. It's a tricky balance. And I know like when other people listen to my music and give feedback, a lot of it boils down to, oh, your voice is tinny, your voice is tinny, your vocal mixing is tinny. And I get it. I'm still trying to get you know, I'm still trying to get it figured out because I tend to sing in more of a head voice or more of a whispery voice when doing a lot of these kinds of characters. In my higher ranges, because I'm an alto, I tend to soften my voice. And because of that, sometimes it's a little trickier to try and mix over an instrumental that sounds that heavy with that much bass and that much volume and that much like distortion going on. It can get a little difficult for me, but you know, I still really like that song. I think that it is still one of my favorites for sure. And I just love Vany. I wish in the game that she just, you know, had a little more substance to her character. You know what I mean? I feel like everyone who was a Vany fan was kind of let down. I mean, even Scott himself, you know, wasn't too satisfied with how the story came out for that game. But, you know, you win some, you lose some. It's all a giant, you know, learning experience for everyone involved, including the developers, Scott, and us as fans. But yeah, I still like Vany, and I like that song. But anyways, let's move on to song number 5, which is the song about my least favorite section of the whole game. One of them, anyway, okay? I will say that the stupid Broken Simon Says still takes number 1, and Broken Moon. Both of those go hand in hand. In second or third place is this section, because I hate Weeping Angel mechanics so much. They stress me out. I don't know how I managed to beat this part of the game faster than I beat most of the other parts of the game, because I was actively shaking and crying and shitting my pants the whole time. But somehow I did. But this song I like, because I think the lyrics to it are the most clever part. The mixing and the instrumental are very electronic and very heavy and kind of like, you know, like you'll hear it. And I like that. I like it. But my favorite part is probably the whole like pre-chorus verse that's like 1 by 1 in a line, 2 by 2 side by side, because that whole section, when I thought about it, and again, this was like an idea that popped into my head one time when I was off doing something else, but I was like, oh, that's so good, I have to go write that down immediately. But again, just one of my more like clever lyric things, I think, for such a odd section of the game, because I tried to cover as many sections of the game as I could in one album, and I could not make a song about this one because this was one of the scariest parts of the whole game, and I think we can all agree on that. So anyways, let's have a little listen. Oh, I forget how heavy the bass is in this one with the kick. It's thumping my brain. See, with the vocal plugins I have now, I could have done those robot voices so much better. This is my favorite part, though. In your head, in your mind, 4 by 4 from assembly lines, 5 by 5 we harmonize, 6 by 6 and we're still counting. If you're scared, just close your eyes. That line I think went a little hard, because you know, close your eyes and they'll come get you. And I don't know, okay, I gotta hype myself up sometimes, all right? I like that line. I also like the siren in the background, the wee woo, wee woo. I like that. I will say, something else that I pointed out about this song at one point when listening to it with my friends, because we were all doing something in this song, I had it on for some reason, I don't know why. Maybe because I was cycling through old Ableton projects or something, and I was like, oh, look, my album. But anyway, I realized that the style of this song, instrumental-wise, is kind of reminiscent of One of Us. And I don't know what it is about it, but it just kind of reminds me of that song. I don't know why. Maybe just because of the rhythm, the tempo, and some of the like MIDI instruments, like the electronic synth leads that are doing the melodies, kind of remind me of it. But yeah, that's just something I thought I'd point out. I love watching these goofy little guys, because if you look at each one separately, they all have a little something about them. Like one of them kind of looks around, one of them's just straightforward, one of them's like squirrel. It's just, the longer you watch them, the funnier it gets. I love that they all have their own personality. Oh, I went back to my 2017 era of doing crazy chop vocals in the background that don't need to be there. Okay, go off. Side, 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 side. 4. Okay. The chop vocals weren't that bad. They're not as bad as I used to do them when I was younger because I didn't know what I was doing, okay? So I will give myself that. But it's just funny. I used to have some strange addiction to throwing in like chopped up vocals into my choruses, like back in the era of like 2017 through 2020, the very beginning of my music making career, if you will. So wow, a little homage to my old style. How fun is that? I like this one. Not in my top 5 per se, but I know it's in a lot of your guys's, which is funny because sometimes when I get fan mail or people talk to me in person, they're like, oh my gosh, it's my favorite song on your whole album. And I'm like, oh, what a peculiar choice. But you know what? Kind of makes sense. I see it. Because again, I'm particularly proud of that like 1 by 1 in a line section because I felt like it was clever, isn't it? So, pretty good, but not in my top 5, unfortunately. Sorry, Endos, you didn't quite make the cut. But anyways, let's move on to my favorite of the entire album, okay? This one, I have no notes. This song will hold a special place in my heart. Until the day I stop breathing, this will be my favorite thing I've ever made. Oh yeah, you know what time it is, guys.
Please take this map.
You know what time it is. No, yes, let's go. It's map time! It's so bright! My eyes! Come on, guys, sing along. Map. Map. Hi. Please take this map. 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 Take a map. Thank you. Please enjoy. Typing out the lyrics for all of my songs, because I've been doing that lately, so they're available on music platforms. Doing this one was my favorite. There's lyrics available to this now. Timed lyrics. You can sing along to this now. Go on Spotify right now, look. Please enjoy. Map. 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 Come on, guys. Map. Map! 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 Yeah! Look at Freddy in the background! Look at him, he's vibing! That should be you!
Thank you.
Yeah! Please, I will enjoy!
Please take this map. Take a map. Thank you.
I will.
Please enjoy.
I will. That's it. That's number 1. Top 5? That's my number 1. No questions. Thank you very much. I will not explain myself. If that's not your favorite song on this whole album, then you're just a loser. Anyway, before this video gets way too long, I'm gonna pause here. I will release these reactions in parts since it is a 19-song album. So we won't be here all day. I won't take up too much of your time. Please, please. I know you must have other things to get to, so I will bid you adieu for now, but please do keep an eye out. I will be reacting to this entire thing, so keep an eye out for part 2, and probably even a part 3, depending on how long it takes me to get through all of these. So, in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for being around. Thanks for coming along for the ride as I unpack all of my opinions on this 2-year-old album. Don't get me wrong, I'm still pretty proud of it, but it is quite strange and quite funny to look back on it now. If you enjoyed this reaction video, comment down below to let me know that you would perhaps like to see more of this type of thing. And smash! I mean, crush that like button or kiss it gently and lovingly. And if you're new around here, hi, I'm Night Cove the Fox. I am a nerdcore musical artist. Mainly, I make songs about Five Nights at Freddy's. I also do cosplay videos and occasional gaming videos. So if any of that is up your alley, please smash that subscribe button and stick around. You'll have fun here. And as always, for the rest of you lovelies, stay bright because you are a star, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.